Hello everyone, my name is Victor and this video is going to be on how to become an EMT. Just a little bit about myself. I've been in the EMS for about 15 to 16 years. 11 of those years have been on an ambulance. So usually when people find out that I'm an EMT, they always ask, hey, how's the pay? What type of hours do you work? What type of calls you've been on? The most famous one that I always get is, hey, how do you become an EMT? So I thought this would be a great subject to make a video on, kind of help people out, point them in the right direction. If they really are considering, they're really serious about becoming an EMT, this is something, hey, this is something that I want to do. So I figured, hey, this is kind of helping people out, point them in the right direction, kind of help those out, people that can go back to this video and refer back to it, say, hey, I missed this step, what's the next thing that I need to do. Let's first start. So what is an EMT? So an EMT stands for Emergency Medical Technician. And I'm going to be talking about the different steps, tips, hey, just from experience, what I think that you should, what's going to be the easiest route towards accomplishing your goal of becoming an EMT. First things first, you're going to need to be able to pass a background check. You can't have any criminal convictions on your background, no felonies, and certain type of misdemeanors. This is something that you're going to have to check through your state. Second, you're going to have to be able to lift 125 pounds, roughly, I would say, approximately. If you're just shy of that, say you can lift 100 pounds, 115, whatever, you can work yourself up to that, okay? So, but that's roughly 125 pounds is what the minimal requirement. You're going to have to be lifting people up, patients, gurneys, equipment, trauma bag, your EMS bag, your first in bag. You're just going to have to be lifting stuff. Okay. Third is you're going to need a high school diploma or some, your GED or some type of high school equivalency. Something, it's just stating the, the minimal educational requirements. Again, you're going to have to look in the area that you're working in or you're serving in, and that's what their requirements going to be for your education. Some states might require you to have an associate's degree. You might need some college, whatever they require for you to work in that state or your area. You're gonna need a driver's license. This is a must. You need, because you're gonna have to be driving an ambulance around. Fourth, you're gonna need a good driving record. And this is because obviously you're driving expensive equipment down the road. You're going lights and sirens. They're putting a lot of trust in you to drive this equipment, and the ambulances are heavy. They're not just a regular vehicle. There's a lot of additional gear or equipment that gets placed on the ambulance, and that makes it a lot heavier. So you can't have any, a lot of accidents or DUI or anything, because this is whatever your employer is, whether it be private or public. This has to deal with the insurance requirement. Your company has to be able to insure you. So how does one become an EMT? So number one, you're going to need your CPR card, okay? I recommend getting the AHA, American Heart Association, and that is going to be the standard. That's required for me in my area, the provider that I work for. They require the American Heart Association card, okay? And specifically, it's going to be your BLS provider. BLS stands for Basic Life Support, or your healthcare provider. Again, check with your employer or the person that you're about to, the agency that you're going to work for, or your state, what their requirements are. Whenever you're going to take your EMT course, your EMT class, I recommend planning this is going to require some planning. So plan this out before. So let's say that you're going to take the EMT class, the EMT course in the fall. You might want to take your CPR class in the summertime, a couple months before then, or a month or two, whatever the case, whatever is that, that class time is going to be given. CPR is going to be your bread and butter, okay? Typically, when you see lights and sirens, when you see an ambulance driving down the road, code 3, lights and sirens, this is what you imagine, this is what you picture, is that someone's not breathing, someone's having a heart attack, you're going over there to do CPR, okay? So CPR is definitely going to dip your feet into this, submerge you a little bit into this world, into this field, kind of give you a glimpse, just prepare you for CPR, okay? It's gonna show you a little bit of what we do. Second, your EMT course, your EMT class, okay? Research it, Google it, go to your local ambulance provider in the area, whatever ambulance company, your fire department. Usually for my case, I went to the local community college, looked up EMT, emergency medical technician. In the area, it might be a training center. It might even be the ambulance provider in your area. They might even be putting the EMT course class on in your area. So this is something that you're going to research, okay? For me, it was a community college. I looked it up, emergency medical technician. It's going to be either, when I did it, it was like a Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday class. Sometimes they have them all day. You go from 8 in the morning to 5 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock at night, whatever the hours require. The EMT course is generally an hours. You have to meet the minimum requirements. So for National Registry, they typically want you to have so many hours. Typically, you're going to have lecture. Let's say you go Mondays and Tuesdays. It's going to be lecture for the first couple hours. You take a break, you come back, you're going to do the manipulative part. You're going to do the hands-on stuff. You're going to be learning, showing your instructors, doing medical assessment, doing trauma assessments, just different skills that EMT is going to have to do. Another thing that I recommend for the EMT class, or before this is just a recommendation, not mandatory. I definitely recommend taking their medical terminology. If you're taking it through the community college, learn some medical terminology. It's a good class. We as an EMS or EMTs and paramedics, we communicate. You're going to communicate with other first responders, other agencies, allied health. You're going to be communicating with the hospital, radiology department, surgery department, doctors, nurses, other EMTs. So you're going to have to communicate, or you're going to have to relay what you experience in the field with the patient care. Hey, what did you see? You're gonna have to do some interventions to help that patient out, prolong their care, and get them to the hospital so they can get further care and help them out. So you're gonna have to explain all this stuff. You're gonna have to relay or communicate, and you're gonna have to delegate some things out, patient care. So like I said, highly recommend medical terminology. If you can't take the terminology stuff, Google it. I say go online, YouTube, Google medical terminology, get familiar with that stuff. It's going to help you out in the course. Also, I recommend when you register for your class or you're taking class, email the instructor, get the information for the class. Go to your bookstore. When I took my EMT course, this is the book that I did. Look for the ISBN number. You might know somebody who's taken the EMT class before. Borrow the book, get it used. Go to, sometimes they have stuff online, Facebook. People get rid of their books, their old books. They might. So just find out which textbooks you get. Do not get the wrong textbooks, because textbooks are expensive. Make sure you get the right textbook. And I recommend getting the textbook, after you're done with your CPR class. If you did it a couple months and you plan on get the textbook for a month before you start class. Read it. Read the bold terms, skim through it real quick. Read the first couple of chapters, because I guarantee you, when I started that first week, they're like, all right, cool, you read the first 7 chapters, you're gonna be quizzed on it, you're gonna take a test next Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever. You're gonna have to know the first 7 chapters fast, or whatever chapters. So it's a lot. The EMT course is definitely it's that type of course where you're definitely hitting the floor running. Okay, it's not something you ease into. They're gonna grab you and they're gonna throw you into the pool, and it's sink or swim type deal. Okay, but don't let that discourage you. Some guys have to take the EMT class more than once. They might take it 2 or 3 times. There's the same thing with paramedics. Paramedic school. Not everybody gets through it the first time. Some people have to repeat it, and some people pass it the first time. And some people pass it the first time, and then they get into this, and then they don't want. They've been in it for a month or 2, and then they just don't want to do it no more. Or they did everything, they got the certifications, and they just never do anything with it. And there's guys, like I said, they've taken it 2 or 3 times, and it just took them that long to grasp the concepts, the knowledge, and then they do this for the rest of their lives. So it just don't let it's tough. Don't let that discourage you. Definitely recommend getting the book at least a month before you start the class. Start reading through it. Start looking through it. Start like a sponge. Absorb the knowledge, right? Submerge yourself into it. Look up YouTube medical terminology. Review your CPR stuff. Like I said, that's the bread and butter. So the next thing, all right, you pass. Let's say you get to EMT school, EMT class. You're done. You pass everything, right? The EMT course, the EMT class, is just to prepare you for the National Registry of EMTs, right? The NREMT test, right? This is the big. This is going to be the big test, the big exam. This is just the standard test across the country, across the United States. It's a nationalized, standardized test, saying that all EMTs that take this test meet the minimum required. They all know this. They know this knowledge. They pass this test. They can perform EMT versus whether you work in California, Texas, New York, Alaska, whatever the case. It's standard. It's across the board. Let's say that I decide to move to Texas, Arizona, whatever the case. I need my national registry. This is going to be the card that you take to whatever state, whatever local county EMS system you're going to work for. For me, it's ICEMA, Inland Counties Emergency Medical Agency. Okay, I take that to ICEMA and say, hey, this is I passed the EMT test, the National Registry test. Once you pass the National Registry, or once you pass your EMT course, you go to National Registry, and don't worry that your EMT class is probably going to explain all this stuff, but I'm going to explain it to you now. You go to National Registry, the NREMT, it's www.nremt.org, right? You create a username, you create a password, okay? The National Registry EMTs will verify that you passed, the EMT course, that you meet the minimum required, the hours, right? There's so many hours that you need to complete for the course, the EMT class, right? That you're gonna need to submit to them skills, your skills verification. Like I said, the skills are gonna be your medical, your trauma, splinting, C-spine, the CAD, different skills. I forget there's a bunch of them. Okay, so your EMT class is gonna verify those skills. Okay. Then this is going to take a while, because your school is going to have to contact, once National Registry gets a hold of them and say, we're going to verify this guy. Did he take this person? Did they take the EMT class? Did they pass? Okay, you submit your proof, all that. All right. Your application fee for your first time for National Registry is going to be $80. Okay. And I said it's always changing. When you view this video, it might be a little bit more expensive. Whatever. Right now, it's $80. Okay, for application for National Registry EMTs. Okay. Once they verify you, then they're gonna give you the confirmation to go take the test. Now and again, National Registry is gonna point you to. It's gonna be Pearson. Okay, and it's VUE. I always say VUE, but it's the test centers. Okay, so you're gonna have to go to a test center in your area. Okay, in my area, Pearson offers test centers in Ontario, California, and then Redlands, California, and then there's a bunch like in Pasadena. There's some in Lancaster or in Palmdale. So they're gonna give you the confirmation. Okay, cool, you're good to go. You paid your fee. You're verified. You took the course. All you gotta do now is go take the test at one of these Pearson test centers. You go to prepare for the National Registry. It is a tough test. Don't get me wrong. There is books that you can buy. You go to Barnes & Noble, go online, take test preps. Okay, they got test preps that you can go in there. They prep you for the test and give you pretty much what National Registry, the type of questions they're going to ask you. They're going to prepare you for that, and then you go back in the book or wherever the case, and you look at it and say, okay, cool, I got number 6 wrong. Okay, and they're going to explain to you why you got, which was the correct answer and why that answer was correct. So prepare for the test. You can go, and they sell books that say, hey, prepare for National Registry prep text or whatever the case, exam book. So once you go, you take the National Registry, you pass the test, you're done. Okay, you go after the test, you're gonna be thinking to yourself like, dang, I just I just wasted $80. Like, I just screwed this. I screwed up. I don't even know. I don't even know what I was thinking. I don't even know anything. So don't get discouraged. Just wait. It's going to be a stressful time. Usually you get the results pretty quick. I would say anywhere from 2 to 3 days. I've heard of people, get the exam, in a couple hours. So it just depends. You get the results from your national registry. Hey, you passed. Cool. The next step is to get your state card. Okay, go to your wherever area you're going to be working in. It's going to be your local EMS agency, right? Like I said, for me, it's ICEMA. It's going to be Inland County's Emergency Medical Agency, and that's the agency that I'm going to go to, my local agency. And you might be in Riverside, so it might be REMS. You might be Alley County. You might be Kern. You might be somewhere up north. You might be in Texas. Whatever local agency that's who you're gonna go apply. So once you pass the national registry, again, I'm gonna go through it real quick. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna cover up my information because I don't want y'all to get my information. Okay, so I don't know if you can see that. Focus. All right, this is your CPR card. Okay, you get your CPR card. Okay, once you pass national registry, you go to Pearson, you pass the test, all that's good, right? Paid your money. Then you're going to get, I don't know if you can see that, I'm trying to, alright, you're going to get your National Registry EMT card, alright? It's National Registry of Emergency Medical Technicians, okay? You get that, okay? You take your CPR card, you take your National Registry of EMTs card, right? You take your skills verification. You're gonna go down to your local EMS agency, right? That's usually that's who's gonna distribute your state card, and it's a little confusing because it's like you have your local EMS agency. They kind of we'll get into this more later, but you have a medical director, and then that medical director. EMTs are a designated agent or extension of the medical directors, right? The medical director oversees all patient care in that county or that area. So for me, it's going to be ICEMA, and that includes it's going to be San Bernardino County, Mono, and Inyo counties, right? So you might be in Riverside, you might be REMS, you might be Alley County, Kern, Texas, whatever case. But your agency, your local agency, that's who's going to give you your state card, right? That's who you go through. Before, it was every county distributed their own EMT card. Now they just make a standardized test where now it's just a state card. Before, you would have your ICEMA card, and then let's say you wanted to be in EMT in Alley County or Riverside, you would have to get that agency's EMT card. And so they just made it in the state of California. It's just a state card, EMT state card. So when you go down, like I said, National Registry EMT, your CPR card, you're gonna need your skills verification sheet, and then you're gonna need your application, and then you're gonna need to pay a fee. Okay, you go down, you go online, Google it. Okay, for me it's ICEMA. You go in there, you start an application, and it goes through the process. For your initial cert for an EMT, it's going to be $145 for 2 years, and then keep in mind, with ICEMA, you're going to need to do a background check. They're going to point you in the right direction. You might need to do it through, and that's going to be a live scan. Okay, you get your fingerprints done. So you either get that through your local law enforcement, your sheriff's department. They have private companies that do it, so they might give you like, hey, here's a list of people that we go through. And you go, they do the live scan, your fingerprint. I don't know the exact cost. It's going to cost anywhere from, I would say, anywhere from $45 to $75 to do your live scans, the background check. Okay, for the initial certification for your EMS agency, for ICEMA, it's $145. Okay, like I said, depending on what time, it might increase. I don't know. Next year, whenever you're seeing this, it might increase. So that's definitely something you're gonna have to Google, look up, research. What is the cost? Okay. And then after that, after your 2 years, when you recertify, I'll probably do another video for EMTs recertifying. Recertifying is going to be $107. Okay. Paramedics, it's going to be a whole different process, and it's pretty much, it's very similar, but obviously you're going to need your paramedic and all this other stuff, so it's going to be different fees, different certifications, stuff like that. So okay, so boom, you submit all your stuff to your local EMS agency, right? You did the class, you got your CPR, you're now, you get your card, now you are a certified EMT, right? This card, right, you can work as an EMT once you have this card, okay? Whether it be on an ambulance, you're for your fire department, if you're law enforcement, or you work in a hospital as an ER tech, whatever the case, okay? This gives you, right, you can work as an EMT. Okay, so now this is where, if you're gonna work on an ambulance, the next step, right? You have your EMT card. You're done. You're pretty much, that's, now it's all downhill. Now it's the part of just getting your medical examiner's card, your ambulance driver's cert, and then going and taking all that and going and applying for a job. Okay, so the next thing is gonna be, right, your medical examiner's card. And basically this is just a physical. Go to your primary doctor, or go to a clinic, or and specifically ask for your medical, you need your medical examiner's certification, right? And they're gonna know what you're talking about, because basically it's just a physical. You make the appointment, you pay your fees, and this, when you go in there, they're going to do your blood pressure. You're going to talk to the doctor. They're going to basically make you bend over, see if you can touch your toes. And this just shows that you can prove that, hey, this guy can work in the field. He can perform as an EMT. He's physically healthy enough to be an EMT, okay? Again, don't let none of this discourage you. If you say your blood pressure is a little high, well, that just means you have to work on it. You may have to exercise a little bit more. So don't let none of this stuff discourage you, okay? If you want something bad enough, you can obtain it, okay? So again, you're gonna have to pay for the fee. If you're, say, whoever your employer is, they might pay for it, and they might send you, hey, here's the doctors we're gonna send you to. You get your medical examiner's card, okay? And they're gonna have the forms, because these forms you're gonna need to take to the DMV. Okay, you get your medical examiner's card. Sorry, it's gonna be hard to see. I'm trying to focus this for you. Okay, medical examiner's card, you get that, you take that form to the DMV, right? You need to submit that when you need to get your ambulance driver's cert, right? You go to the DMV, say, hey, I got my medical examiner's card, I got my EMT card, I got my CPR card, I need my ambulance driver's cert. Okay, this is something that you're gonna need to get to through the DMV, okay, the Department of Motor Vehicles, right? When you go there, okay, get your the ambulance driver's handbook, okay? Get this before you take the test, okay? You read this. It's not too bad of information. If you're able to get through the EMT course, this should not be hard for you, okay? This is something, if you have a driver's license, you have your EMT certification already, it's gonna be cake, okay? You study the information, you submit your ambulance medical examiner's certification, you give them your copy of your CPR card, whatever documents they're going to want to verify, they're going to want to see, okay, cool. You pay the fee. I forget what the fee is for the ambulance driver's cert. It's like 25, 35, it might be 45. I'm not very sure on that, okay? It's not something abnormous, crazy expense. This lasts about 2 years as well, or I'm sorry, the medical examiners expires every 2 years, or it could be yearly. I'm sorry, I have to look into that further. Your ambulance driver's cert expires on your birthday, okay? Whenever your driver's license expires, that's when that ambulance driver's cert expires, okay? They're going to issue a temporary one, okay? You submit your medical examiner's card, make a copy of your medical examiner's card as well. It's a pink one. You're going to get your paper copy in the mail. It might take a month, whatever. You got your temporary one. That's good enough, okay? It's gonna look like this: ambulance driver cert. It's gonna be a little card. All these certs that I'm showing you are these certs you need to carry on you when you're an EMT, right? They're gonna need to go in your wallet. Okay, and you have them on you at all times when you're working as an EMT, when you're driving the ambulance. Okay, and your employer is gonna need copies of those too. They're gonna keep them on file, and they're gonna have their own little personal files. They're gonna keep on them, okay, at your employer. While you're there at the DMV, get a printout of your driver record, okay? For me here in California, or when I remember what it was the H6, right? It was the DMV driver printout handout, okay? It was a copy of your driving record, okay? Get that. It's called an H6. Get it. It costs like $5. You might want to get like maybe a couple of those, or get one, make copies of those, because when you go apply for, like I said, when I applied for the job, when I was looking for an EMT job, you would have to hand that over to the ambulance company that you're providing for, or you're applying for. Cool. Pretty much you're good. You have all the certifications, you're pretty much all now you need to do is go and find an EMT job. During this time, Google again. Go talk to people. Research. You live in a rural area, or the area that you live in is, the ambulance provider in that area is not accepting or whatever, or not hiring at the, you might have to go out of your area. You might have to go to the next county. You might have to go a couple hours. You're gonna have to, if you want to be an EMT, you have to go wherever that position's at, okay? Like I said, you might have to go out of county. So research, go talk to the ambulance, the local ambulance provider, or your local ambulance agency. It might be a third service. It might be ran by the county. It might be ran by the city. It might be a private company. There might be a few ambulance companies in your city. Okay, so like in LA County, there's a lot of them. There's multiple. I couldn't even tell you how many. There's just so many ambulance providers out there. So just go look in your area. Say, hey, research it. When you're doing this, definitely go dressed up, go professional. Go dressed up, ready for an interview. Make a good first impression. Dress shirt, some slacks, a tie if you can, dress shoes. Go have all your certs ready. Make copies of your certs. Okay, take your EMT book with you. During this time, always be refreshing your EMT stuff, your EMT knowledge. Reread your medical assessments. Do all your skills, CPR, all this stuff. Because when you go and have a folder with you, carry a binder. Like I said, have your certs, your original certs on you. Make copies of your certs. Like I said, go dressed, ready to be interviewed. Go dressed, be ready to, and who knows, they might go, hey, we need an EMT. Do the application. When can you start? You need to start training, okay? Because you're already certified as an EMT. Go when you fill out your application. Like I said, during coronavirus, COVID, all this stuff, it might be a little bit different. Everything's probably done online now. When you do your EMT school, it's gonna be a little bit different. Hopefully, after all this COVID stuff, it goes back to the way it was. But yeah, go dressed up, be ready for an interview. You might have to do a phone interview. Just be ready to go. Know all your EMT knowledge, because when you go looking for that job, they're gonna ask you questions. Okay, your interview, when you go apply, you're gonna apply online for your EMT job. They might make you take a test. They might make you do a manipulative test, okay? Whoever you're trying to work for, because they want to see, like, okay, you have the cert, but can you be an EMT? Like, can you fit our mold? Can you cut the mustard on our end? Okay, and you may not be what they're looking for. And if this is really what you want, you have to show them, like, hey, I can be an EMT. I know the knowledge. I can do what you need. Okay, I can go out there and run the calls. So be ready for an interview. Go dressed up. Be ready to start. While you're there, while you're applying for it, do some research about the company, about the ambulance provider that you're trying to work for, the agency you're trying to work for. Okay, go talk to the guys. Hey, I have all this stuff. Is there anything else that I need? Like I said, depending on what area you're working in, they might require a certain certification. Your local agency, like my agency, requires that you need to have Epi, Narcan, glucometer training. Okay, we do AccuChecks here, so that's something that the local EMS agency requires. Okay, in LA County, they might require the EMTs to do certain type of things during transport, so they want you to have a certain certification. Those are just very little differences, but those are differences that are gonna say, hey, you need this certain thing to be an EMT. Okay, like I said, there's just little differences, and pretty much it's the same across the board. But once you got the EMT course out of the way, that's the big chunk. Everything's downhill, and you're just trying to get the job. So, or it might be a volunteer thing. You might want to go. In my area, I know they have like a ski patrol. It's paid, so they might pay you, a certain type of wage, or it might be volunteer. You might be a paid call, or reserve firefighter. Whatever the case, it might not even be paid. So, just do the research, figure it out what you want to do. Sign up to Indeed. Google it. Ambulance EMT jobs in my area. Ambulance provider in my area. ER tech. Wherever you can get the experience, try to get in as quick as possible. You paid all this money, you did all this time to get your EMT certification. Don't let it go to waste. Okay. Once you're there, all you need to do now is get your experience, get your foot in the door, and then figure out where you want to go from there. Okay, like I said, get experience. Okay, you might have to go out there, you might have to volunteer, you might, just because later on down the road there might be another ambulance provider that you really want to work for, and that ambulance provider may say, okay, well, it's only limited spots, so we can be a little bit more choosy, I guess you could say, or more selective on the type of people that we want working for us. So take that into consideration. Get your experience where you can, and that's pretty much it. Like I said, so I'm gonna break it down again. Okay, like I said, depending on what area you're in, go do some research. Go talk to the guys. Go look around. Google a lot. EMT courses. So again, you have to be able to pass a background check. No felonies, certain type of misdemeanors. Again, this is something you're gonna have to research on your area, your state, or wherever you're gonna be at. Okay, so if you have some stuff on your background, look into it. See that because you don't want to do all this stuff, and at the end you can't work as an EMT because whatever, or you're gonna have to work a little bit harder. You may be able to expunge. Work on your background, or be able to expunge certain things off of your background. I've heard of things like that before. So, like I said, nothing's impossible. Nothing's out of the way. So, if you want something bad enough, you might have to work a little bit harder for it, or just wait a little bit longer. So, like I said, look into it. See if you do have something on your background. If there's something that you can expunge or get taken off your background, or whatever the case, we all make mistakes. So, okay. Another thing, physically fit. You have to be able to lift 125 pounds, okay? Like I said, if it's something you're not up to that yet, you can work up to it, okay? If you can lift more than that, good for you. A high school diploma or GED equivalency. Something saying, hey, I finished high school, I meet these standards. Like again, in your state, your area, they might require a higher education. They might require you to have an associate's degree, okay? So this is something that you're going to need to look into, okay? Third, once you've figured out this is what I want to do, okay? Plan to go do your EMT class. Wherever you decide to do it, whether you're through your college, your community college, there might be a training center near you, private training center, private college. There might be even the ambulance provider or your agency close to you might put one on, okay? Look into those things. Again, before you do the class, get your CPR card. Get the EMT book. Start studying it. Okay? Do medical terminology if you can. If you can't, just look up YouTube. Buy a book. Go to Barnes & Noble. Another thing, okay? Like I said, National Registry. That's the big test. That your EMT course, your EMT class is just getting you ready for that test. Once you're passing the test, go sign up with National Registry EMTs, right? Fill out the application, pay your fees. Maybe I'll do a video on some tips on the National Registry stuff. I don't know yet. So yeah, take your National Registry, pass it, boom. Once you do that, take that card down to your local EMS agency, do the application, pay the fees, submit your National Registry EMT card, your skills verification. You're good. Wait, pay your fees, do your live scan, your background check. Good, get your EMT card. Next thing you do is go get your medical examiner's card, do all that stuff. Then after that, go get your ambulance driver cert. Right, while you're there, get your H6. Keep refreshing. Go look for a job. All right, guys, that was it. This is on a video on how to become an EMT. Please share and subscribe. Give it thumbs up if you guys like the stuff. Like I said, if you guys enjoy this stuff, I get good feedback, maybe I'll do more things on this type of stuff, on the EMT stuff, if you guys enjoy it. And comment down below. Please comment down below if you guys like this stuff. Comment down below. Give me ideas. Give me a thumbs up if if this information helped you. If you guys like this type of content, I can continue it. Okay, I continue with the other stuff. Just share down below what you like, what you want to see, maybe some subjects that you would like to for me to touch on. Just go from there. Alright guys, my name is Victor, and thank you.